Scrolling the internet today feels exhausting. It has become a wall of rage bait, algorithmic feeds, and a constantly accelerating stream of AI-generated spam. We have to ask how the greatest communication network ever built turned into an automated, highly taxing factory. In the 18th century, English villagers relied on shared, open pastures called the commons. Then, wealthy landowners passed the Enclosure Acts. They erected hedges and stone walls, claiming the shared land as exclusive private property. Stripped of their self-reliance, those villagers were forced into the cities. They became wage laborers, operating the heavy machinery of the early Industrial Revolution. We are living through the exact same phenomenon right now. This is a second enclosure movement, and the modern internet is the new factory. To understand how we were enclosed, we have to look at phase one of the internet. In the 1990s, the web was a true digital commons. It was defined by open protocols, not corporate Todd forms. It was a fully open system. It required technical literacy, but it guaranteed total interoperability. You used SMTP for email and HTTP for websites. An AOL user could reach a university mainframe without asking a CEO for permission. The power of this network didn't live in a centralized server. The value existed entirely at the edges, securely in the hands of the independent users. Around 2005, the tech industry offered us a massive trade. We would give up that autonomy in exchange for extreme convenience. Setting up an independent blog was hard. Creating a social media profile took seconds. Companies like Facebook and Twitter built beautiful walled gardens on top of the open web. They invited us in, and we brought our networks, effectively moving billions of users into closed systems. But closed systems carry a structural flaw. In systems theory, a closed boundary inevitably increases in entropy, or chaos, unless it constantly imports energy. For these platforms, that required energy was intense monetization and relentless user engagement. There was a brief moment where the system tried to self-correct. Google+ attempted to require real name identity verification across its ecosystem, specifically in YouTube comments. Almost immediately, toxic behavior plummeted. The comment sections began to clean themselves up. The user base, however, revolted. People aggressively demanded the right to remain anonymous and consume content without consequence, eventually forcing Google to abandon the project and shut the platform down entirely. By collectively choosing anonymity over accountability, users locked the web into a high-entropy environment optimized for rage and endless engagement. Fast forward to 2023, and the trap snapped shut. This is phase 3. Once the platforms achieved critical mass and captured the entire social graph, they instantly changed the rules. The maneuver closely mirrors a concept from Ayn Rand's literature called Directive 1028. In her work, this was a desperate decree by bureaucrats to freeze all innovation and lock an economy in place to protect their own status. The modern tech giants executed their own version of this directive by aggressively shutting down their APIs. They killed off the third-party apps that allowed users to control their own experience, forcing everyone back into ad-heavy, proprietary interfaces. Next, they introduced pay-to-play verified tiers. The organic reach that users spent years building was throttled, creating a system where you are taxed just to speak to your own established network. Finally, they launched massive data fencing operations. Decades of our posts, photos, and discussions are now being locked down and harvested to train corporate AI models. The enclosure is complete. The internet operates as a factory where we act as the peasants grazing the land, while the landlord extracts the value of our labor to fuel their machines. To see the way out, we have to look back at the early Industrial Revolution. Early machines were crude and needed constant guidance. Factory owners forced autonomous, highly skilled humans to act as compliant robots, performing repetitive tasks with total obedience. The same thing happened in the digital age. We spent years churning out SEO-optimized posts and algorithmic content because the internet's gears hadn't been fully automated yet. Generative AI is finally assuming these mechanical tasks. It has arrived to be the robot that humans were previously forced to simulate. As platforms pivot toward AI-generated feeds, the social rewards for human engagement are being phased out. This shift breaks the psychological lock of the walled garden. Once we stop being useful to the algorithm, we are finally free to walk away from the factory floor. If AI is taking over the massive public squares, where do the actual humans go to survive? There is a mass migration happening right now back to the digital countryside, often called the dark forest. People are moving to private, algorithm-free spaces like Signal groups, Discord servers, and Substack newsletters. These spaces represent a distributed Gulch, a retreat from the entropy of the automated web that prioritizes direct, meritocratic exchange of human insight. To participate, we have to engage in guerrilla gardening. We have to refuse the role of digital serfs by actively reclaiming small patches of the open web, whether that means spinning up a personal website or maintaining an independent email list. The massive platforms own the servers, and they own the hardware. But as long as we choose to step outside their walls, they can never fully enclose our relationships.